Israel and Hamas sat down for another round of talks in Qatar to reach a ceasefire deal in Gaza that would see the release of hostages. Mediator Qatar has said that the negotiations in the truce deal were in their final stages. In fact, Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson Majid Al-Ansari said, "We do believe that we are at the final stages. Certainly, we are hopeful that this would lead very soon to an agreement. Until there is an announcement, we shouldn't be overexcited about what's happening right now." Renewed talks between the two warring parties in the presence of mediators, Qatar, Egypt and the US are a sign that the negotiations are making real progress after months of impasse and continued Israeli bombardment in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Qatar has handed over drafts of a possible ceasefire agreement to both Hamas and Israel. Al-Ansari has said on Tuesday, adding that this is the closest point to a deal over the past months. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's incoming Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and Biden's envoy Brett McGurk have in fact both attended the talks hosted by Qatar's Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani. Israel is represented by David Barnea, Director of Spy Service Mossad, and Ronan Bar, Director of the Shin Bet Internal Security Agency. Now, before we continue, let us tell you that this isn't the first of the meetings that's taken place to decide on a truce deal between the two sides in Gaza. There have been attempts before, there have been negotiators as well. We've seen the US, we've seen the Egypt, Qatar previously as well trying to make a deal and cut out a deal with the Israeli Prime Minister at first and then also Hamas at the same time. Now, on your screens right now, ladies and gentlemen, we see the truce draft that has been sent to both Hamas and Israel. 3 phases that we speak of, with hostage exchange and humanitarian aid being ramped up being one of the key points in the phase 1. Then phase 2, again, another set of hostages to be released and additional prisoner exchanges to occur. In fact, before we continue with this particular story, let me quickly take you through a report that brings us the details of what has gone down so far in making this draft.
Also discussed a possible hostage deal.
Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar on Monday said negotiations toward a possible release of hostages in exchange for a ceasefire in Gaza had progressed. That comes as an official briefed on the negotiations described to Reuters a midnight breakthrough in talks between the sides in Doha. The official said the text for a ceasefire and release of hostages was presented by Qatar. The session included envoys of both outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden and U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Others present included representatives of Israel's Shin Bet and Mossad intelligence agencies. Officials on both sides stopped short of saying a final draft had been reached, but confirmed progress at the talks.
Israel wants a hostage deal. Israel is working with our American friends in order to achieve a hostage deal, and soon we will know whether the other side wants the same thing.
A Hamas official who asked not to be named told Reuters on Monday that discussions over some core issues for a ceasefire deal in Gaza had advanced. The United States, Qatar, and Egypt have worked for more than a year on talks to end the war in Gaza, so far fruitlessly. Trump's January 20th inauguration is now widely seen in the region as a de facto deadline. The president-elect has said there would be, quote, hell to pay unless hostages held by Hamas are freed before he takes office, while Biden has also pushed hard for a deal before he leaves. The warring sides have agreed for months broadly on the principle of halting the fighting in return for the release of hostages held by Hamas and Palestinian detainees held by Israel. But Hamas has always insisted a deal must lead to a permanent end to the war and Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, while Israel has said it will not end the war until Hamas is dismantled. Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, a hardline nationalist who has opposed previous attempts to reach a deal, denounced the latest proposals as a, quote, surrender and a, quote, catastrophe. Angry family members of Israeli hostages confronted him at a Knesset session on Monday, accusing him of abandoning their loved ones. Israel launched its assault in Gaza after Hamas fighters stormed across its borders in October 2023, killing 1,200 people and taking more than 250 hostages, according to Israeli tallies. Since then, more than 46,000 people have been killed in Gaza, according to Palestinian health officials, with much of the enclave laid to waste and most of its population displaced. Bloodshed continued in Gaza on Monday, where medics said Israeli military strikes killed at least 21 people. That number includes 5 killed in an Israeli strike at a Gaza City school sheltering displaced families.